Today we are continuing the Machlok, page Ayin Gimel, Amud Aleph, 73a, by the two dots, which is about 10 lines down. 9 lines down, the end of the ninth line. Okay, so the Gemara continues in this topic of mitasek, which means that you're busy with something else and you ended up doing this. Itmar, nitkaven lizrok shtayim v'zarak arba. He had intention to throw an item 2 amot on Shabbat, which is not the malacha. We know you have to throw it 4 amot. You have to uproot it and let it land 4 amot in a different domain in the Rishut Rabim. It's all the same domain, Rishut Rabim, but in order to be considered getting out of its domain, where it was situated, has to leave its 4 amot. So he wanted to only throw 2 amot, which is not the malacha. But what happened was, by mistake, he threw 4 amot. So Rava Amar Patur, Abaye Amar Chayav. Again, Rava says, this is part of mitasek. Again, he includes a case in mitasek where Abaye doesn't. And so Rava Amar Patur Deloch Mechaven Lezrika Da'arba. Rava says you're Patur. Why? Because you never had in mind to throw it 4. Abaye Amar Chayav Deloch Mechaven Lezrika Ba'alma. Abaye says yes, but you wanted to throw, and throwing is the malacha. So this sounds very similar to yesterday's machloket. Abaye says you wanted to cut. Who cares that you didn't want to cut the thing that was asur, but you wanted to cut. So here you wanted to throw. And Rabbi says, no, it has to be a cutting that's asur that you wanted to do. And over here it had to be a throwing that was asur. The throwing you wanted to do was not asur. So it seems to be like a repetition of yesterday's machlokah. Why would they have to argue twice? We'll see soon. Kisavur, Reshut HaYachid, ונמצאת רשות הרבים, רבה אמר פטור ואביי אמר חייב. What about if the person thought that he was standing in Reshut HaYachid? And it comes out, so he throws a thing. And he tries to throw it far, more than 4 amot. But he thought he was in Reshut HaYachid. ונמצאת, but it comes out that it was רשות הרבים. רבה אמר פטור ואביי אמר חייב. Why? Because I didn't want to throw something that was asur. I totally thought I was in Reshut HaYachid. I wasn't trying to do an act that was asur. I thought the act that I was doing was a completely permitted act. Not because I thought carrying the malacha of carrying is mutar. Not because I don't know it's Shabbat, but because this is not carrying. I'm not even doing that malacha. Then it comes out that it was carrying, but that's mitasek according to Rava. So you're patur. Abaye says, look, you wanted to throw, to uproot, and to make it land. Akira hanocha. It's true. You thought that akira and hanocha were mutar. That is shogeg. That's chayav karban. So it seems to be like again and again and again. The same machloket. Utzricha says the Gemara. We need all 3 cases here. The Yashmin and Kamaita. If you only tell me about the first case when you wanted to cut something that was talush detached and you cut up something that was attached. Only there Rava says it because he didn't want to do chituk of isur, cutting of isur. Aval itchaven lezok shtayim. V'zarak arba, the arba beloy tarti loy mizukalei. Now, when you threw 4, right? What happened was whatever you wanted to do happened. When you wanted to cut the detached item and you cut the attached item, You wanted to cut the carrot on the floor that was detached. You ended up cutting the carrot that was still attached to the ground. Was your thought and plan fulfilled? Was it fulfilled in any way? No. It was the wrong carrot. So that's why you would say, okay, so that's why maybe it's mitasek. But maybe Rava will admit that when you threw something 4 amot, what you wanted to do was fulfilled. What did you want to do? Throw 2 amot. You did throw 2 amot. You throw 2 amot plus. Every 4 has 2 in it. So you did what you wanted to do. Maybe you did more than you wanted to do. So therefore, maybe there, Rava will say, okay, that is already not just mitasek. That's, you did. Part of the malacha is exactly what you wanted to do. So therefore, we have to teach the second case, that even in the second case, Rava says it's still mitasek. It's not shogeg. So the Gemara says, so why don't you just tell me the second case? Just tell me the second case, and I'll know that for sure he'll argue in the first case. Because there, I'll say like this. You know why Rava said in the second case that it's totally mitasek? Because the act of throwing it 4 is nothing. In Shabbat, throwing less than 4 is not a real throw. It's like, it's not the malacha at all. The malacha is lacking in the whole thing. So what I'm trying to do here today is not even the malacha. I'm trying to throw 2. What is that? That's the malacha, but just in a mutter way, in a way that's permitted. No, it's not like, it's like not making a cut. It's like going like this with a knife. That's not the cut. Yeah, it's almost the cut if you go a little more. Yeah, I know, it's not the cut. So here too, it's not a throw. In halacha, that's not a throw. So therefore, that's why Rava says it's mitasek. Because what I was involved in my mind was something that's not even the melacha at all. Oh, but in the case of cutting, maybe if you didn't write that case, you would say, Rava says, oh, you didn't cut. You cut the wrong thing. But there you wanted to cut. You wanted to do the act of cutting, like Abaya says. And you ended up doing cutting. Just the difference is mutar and asur. Who says that's enough to make mitasek for Rava? Maybe he'll agree to Abaya that you'll have to bring a chatat. Kamash malan, Rava says that's also mitasek. Because even though I want to do the act, but in my mind that act was an act of heter. That's also mitasek. Okay, so now I have the 2 cases. Each one has a flip side that I would be able to hear why it's more like Abaye. So why don't you just write those 2 cases, and you don't need to write the 3rd case that he thought he was in Rishut Rabin. So the Gemara says, no, because then Al Kasav B'Rishut Yachiv Nimtzar Rishut Rabin the Mechav Lezika de Arba. Yeah, it's not an act at all, that case, but Al Kasav B'Rishut Yachiv Nimtzar Rishut Rabin, same thing, the Mechav Lezika de Arba, Eva Moidele Abaye, Tzricha. Now, and the same reason why he had to write the 3rd case. The 3rd case is a case where you wanted to do the malacha, which is throw 4. Just you didn't think it was a malacha because you thought you were in Rishut Yachid. So there too, Rava says, what he says, that it's still called mitasek. Now, why you couldn't figure that out from the first case, once Rava says the first case, I'm not sure. Okay, Tanan. Avot melachot arba'im chaser achat. The Mishnah is going to say, we're going to reach the Mishnah B'Zerat Hashem very soon, right in a few seconds, a few minutes. So the Mishnah says, in that Mishnah, that the The amount of melachot is 39. Why do we need a number? Rabbi Yochanan taught us. We did this command already before. That if you do them all in one forgetting, you're chayav for each one. Okay? Now what's the case? The case is that you have to know it's Shabbat but forget the melachot. Right? Okay. So the Gemara says, "Bishlam ala Abaye do ameki hagavna chayav mishkachat la." According to Abaye, that said that when you try to do a permitted act and you do something that's similar to it of isur, you're chayav a carbon, and you're able to find a case that you did all 39 melachot. The yada the isur ad Shabbat, the yada la isur melachot. What happened was that he knew that of the isur of Shabbat. He knew about Shabbat, and he knew about the melachot. Because b'shurin. But you know what his mistake was? He knew everything about Shabbat. He just gave a share on Hilchot Shabbat. The problem was he didn't know about how much you have to do. There are shiurim. Every single melacha has a shiur. Cooking has a shiur. Do you know that? If you cook this much meat on Shabbat, a tiny little drop, you're not chayav. If you carry this much, I'm not saying that you're allowed to do them. They're asur, they're chatzi shir, and many of them will be asur midrabanan, and many of them will be asur deoraita. But it's not the melacha. The melacha needs a significant amount of the item for it to be considered that you'd created something melechet machshavet. For example, the other day we were talking about kigrogeret, a dried fig for kaitzer and for tchina, and also for carrying. It's kigrogeret. There are other things that need we're going to see Bezrat Hashem. So all these things need shiurim. Now he made a mistake in the shiurim. So he knew what he was doing, but he thought it's okay because I'm not doing the whole shiur. At the end of the day, he made a mistake because he did the right shiur. So that's where you did all 39 melachot and you bring 39 kavanot. But according to Rava, how could you ever find a case that he did 39 melachot? It's impossible. Why? You can only find the bizdon Shabbat v'shigiyat melachot. Okay? According to Rava, you cannot say the last teretz. Okay? Because that would be mitasek. Right? That he thought that let's say the shear for kotzer is the size of an apple. Okay? So what did he do? He took a fig and he was kotzer a fig. He thought that you know how many figs you have to harvest? The amount of an apple. That's significant. So he said, I'm only going to harvest one fig. So according to Abaye, that's the case where he could do all the melachot like that. But according to Rava, that would be mitasek. Because what I'm thinking is totally mutar. That's mitasek. I know about it. I know what I'm doing. It's mutar. That's mitasek. So it's not the case that you're doing 30 melachot. So the only way you can find the case for Rava that you did all 30 melachot behelam echad is bizdon Shabbat v'shigigat melachot. That I didn't know about the melacha at all. I know today's Shabbat, but I don't know about 39 melachot. So the Gemara says, the Gemara already been through such a kasha before, so that's why you know about this. The Shabbat bilav. That only makes sense if I tell you, oh, hey, it's Shabbat Shalom, you say Shabbat Shalom, and I ask you about all 39 melachot, and you tell me, all those 39 things are kosher, you can do them today. So for you, the word Shabbat has no significance. So even though you know it's Shabbat, that's just saying you know it's Saturday. You don't know about any holiness of the day. So that's not knowing about Shabbat. So that means you don't know anything. So that means you don't really know it's Shabbat. Knowing it's Shabbat means knowing that you have to refrain from something. But if you don't know that you have to refrain from anything, so you don't really know it's Shabbat. If you don't know it's Shabbat, the Mishnah already taught us before, you only bring one chatat. So you have to know about Shabbat and not know about the malachot. It's oxymoron. So the Gemara says, what happens? So what's going on? So if you go like Rabbi Yochanan that says that shogeg always means that you know what you're doing is wrong, you just don't know how bad it is because you don't know about the karet. So you could say that he knew about all the malachot, all 39, and he knew how bad they were, but he didn't know how bad they were. He didn't know that they were karet, and he did all 39. B'mezid. That's called shogeg. He did them intentionally, but if he didn't know the gravity of what they incur, that they get karet min hashemayim, then it's shogeg, and he brings a carbon. That makes sense. But if he holds like Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish that says that to be a shogeg, you have to be a shogeg in act. And we had this machloket before. Munbaz. And Munbaz held that you have to be... Actually, Rabbi Yochanan and Shlokish held like Munbaz, but this machloket was in the Rabbanan, if you remember. They're saying what the Rabbanan held. And if you hold like the Rabbanan, and like Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish, because we pass like the Rabbanan, that you have to actually not know what you're doing. So if he doesn't know what he's doing in all 39 melachot, then he doesn't know of any holiness that Shabbos pertains. And if he doesn't know of any holiness of Shabbat, that's like not knowing of Shabbat. And if you don't know of Shabbat, you only bring one carbon. So how is it possible doing 39 carbonot? So the Gemara says, the Yadala betchumen, v'ali b'Rabbi Akiva. He knew about the istur of traveling out of your tchum, and according to Rabbi Akiva, because Rabbi Akiva is the sole opinion that holds that is astur midoraita, even though it's not one of the malachot of Shabbat that you get skila and karet, but it's still astur midoraita according to Rabbi Akiva. So he knows there's some holiness to the day. You're not allowed to leave your tchum. All the other 39 malachot he doesn't know. You say, come on, how is that possible? As long as that happened. Let's say a guy who is becoming religious, or he's a ger, that they just became a ger, and he says, I want to learn about Shabbat, I heard it's a holy day. So the guy says, okay, the guy was learning Tchumen, the Rebbe. So he taught him about Rabbi Akiva that Tchumen's Asur. The class was over. The next day, the guy went and he did 39 melachos. He said, oh, it's Shabbat, it's Tchumen. So he did the 39 melachot. Okay, let's continue. Here is the most famous Mishnah in Shabbat, possibly, perhaps. Because this Mishnah is the Mishnah which delineates the 39 melachot. It was quoted a whole bunch of times already. We just quoted it now. And let's begin. Okay. Remember, I'm just reminding everyone here that we are behind one daf this week, so there will be some sort of announcement. I don't know if it will be today, but maybe tomorrow or the next day, that there will be another added shir, Bezrat Hashem, later in the day. Okay. Avot melachot. Abaim chaser achat. What do they want over here? So much to write. Okay. They give like a very nice overview here. Okay. Avot melachot abeim chaser achat. The avot melachot are 40 minus 1, that's 39. Why does it have to tell us the number? Why can't we count it? So we just said the answer in the Gemara. To tell you that if a person does all 39 melachot and one forgetting, he has to bring 39 korbanot, not one korban. And say, oh, well, it's all chilul Shabbat, it's all one, under one umbrella, under one name. No, if you knew it was Shabbat, and you made a mistake about all 39, you have to bring 39. How is it possible that I know about Shabbat? So we just said, you know about one other thing, it's not a malacha, about tchumen, according to Rabbi Akiva. Now, let's say you don't hold like Rabbi Akiva. So how's it possible? It's not, according to Rav, it's not, you could only bring 38. Why? Because you have to know about one. To be Shabbat, let's say you know about carrying. If you don't hold that tchumen is the right, you have to know about one of them. So the most you could bring, halacha l'maisa, we don't pass like Rabbi Akiva by tchumen. So halacha l'maaseh, how many karbanot could you bring on one Shabbat? 38, I think. Because you have to take one out. Can't use. So this Mishnah is going according to Rabbi Akiva. It says 39 here. And the Rabbi Yochanan taught us that it's there to tell us, that's what it means, Rabbi Akiva. Okay. I don't think we passed like Rabbi Akiva. Okay. So the Psak Halacha, okay, fine. What are they? Let's go through all of them. Number one, Hazoreya, who sows. Sows means like he puts a seed in the ground. Where did they have that in the Mishkan? They needed to plant all sorts of herbs for dye. They had to dye many things in the Beit HaMikdash, in the Mishkan. So they had to plant. Okay? And there was a great miracle in the desert. Even though nothing grew in the desert, it grew for them. And therefore, what they were doing, they were sowing and plowing like normal. Okay? There's an Orach Chaim that says that the wells of Miriam would irrigate and bring out beautiful orchards and gardens. Okay? Others want to say that's true. They didn't plant them in the Midbar. They brought them from Mitzrayim. And even though they didn't do any planting when they built the Mishkan in the Midbar, but since they planted in Mitzrayim for the Mishkan, that was the planting, that was the sowing. How much sowing do you have to do? Meaning to say, does it have to take root or not on Shabbat? So the Rishonim say, no, even if it didn't take root, that you already did the act that will take root. So as long as at the end it took root, even if it was after Shabbat that it took root, that act on Shabbat was the act of sowing. The Rashash writes that if it never took root at the end of the day, and the machshava was never fulfilled, his thought, then it comes that he was not chayav. But Minchat Chinuch says, you are. Because you did an act that was able to bring to taking root. Therefore, any act that's similar to Zriya, that helps you grow something, is a tolda of Zri'ah, and you're also chayav. For example, watering something. When you water something, what milacha is that? You're not going to find watering in this Mishnah out of the 39. So when you water a plant, why is that prohibited on Shabbat? That's a tolda of Zriya. Okay? That's a derivative. And that's the oraita, you bring a korban for that. The person can get killed for that. Okay. What's the shear for this? The Rambam writes, the shear is kolshu, anything. Others maybe want to argue. Okay, let's continue. V'hachoresh, and the one who plows. Plowing is softening the ground. And let's continue. We'll talk about that a lot. V'hakotzer is harvesting. V'hame'amer. Okay, obviously all of these is a lot to speak about. All of its details, myriads of things and toldot, but we're just going to move a little bit through the Mishnah. V'hame'amer. Me'amer is gathering the grain that was already harvested. By the way, if you notice, there's a order here. The order is between from when you sow something that we'll see why does it say plowing. Plowing comes before the sowing, right? Okay, we'll see. But then there's harvesting, and then there's me'amer. You gather all the grain together, and you make it into a pile. Okay, the first thing is to make little piles, and then they gather all those little piles and make a large pile and tie them together. Both those acts of making little and then bringing them and making them a large one and tying it together is all the melachav me'amer. Me'amer is only making piles of things that were cut that grew from the ground. Okay? So, you remember the story in the Torah of Mekoshesh Eitzim B'Yom HaShabbat? He gathered wood sticks. Many learned that was which melacha was he over? This melacha, me'amer. Okay? Because he took things, okay. What's a tolda of me'amer? A tolda of me'amer would be if you take sticky figs. They used to make these fig cakes. They're all over Shas. I'm sure we had it many times already. Igulei dveila, all over Shas and Mishnayot and Gemarot, everything. And you stick them together. That is like gathering the grain. If you make these to make like this necklace of figs, you put it all on one string, they stick together. So you form like a bunch, you bunch it together of these things that grow. That is also me'amer. Okay? Let's continue. V'hadash, one who threshes. Threshing, what are you creating when you thresh? What is the creative act here? What you're doing is you're separating the kernels of the grain from within their stalks. And how they do that? They would bang them down or they would step on them with animals until they would loosen the grain from the shaft. And that's also only in things that grow from the ground. What's a told of that is mifarek. Mifarek means anytime you separate something from where it's being held in. Like schita. When you squeeze, we know squeezing a fruit juice out, like from a grape, is a problem. What's the problem? Which melacha? Where does it say that? Does it say schita in this Mishnah? You're not going to find the word schita, squeezing. But schita is right in this word, dash. Because what you're doing is you're separating the juices from where they are encased in the flesh of the grape. You are now taking them apart. Okay. Ve'azoreh. Zoreh is to winnow. Winnow is the act of, also very similar to Zoreh is, you throw up now that you separated, before I said you separate the kernel from the shaft. Sorry. You separate the kernel from the stalk, but it was still in the shaft. So now you wanted the shafts to fall off. So they would take in this big pitchfork and they would throw up all the grain, the kernels, and the wind would blow away the light shafts and all that stuff, all the garbage, and what would come down would be just the plump kernel, the good kernel. So that is also basically separating the psolet through wind. Okay? What would be a tolda? If you take your mouth and you blow, you see something that's not good on your food, and you go, that's a tolda of, you get the bad off the good. So you're going to say that's borer. That's very similar to borer. That's the next melacha. And the Gemara is going to ask that also. They're basically all one melacha here. Removing the bad from the good. Ha-borer. Borer is to separate the bad from the good with your hand. And, well, not with your hand, but, yeah, you could be over with your hand as well. Sometimes they had in the tvua, or in the onions, whatever they harvested, they used to bring it home. There was a lot of, pieces and garbage in there. So they separated. They wanted to sort it out. They sorted it by taking out the bad. Sounds very similar to the last two, and the Gemara will speak about it. Hatochen. Tochen means to grind. We spoke about this the past week many times. with a mill, with a windmill. Includes all sorts of different spices. What's a tolda? A tolda is even if you don't grind, but you cut things into very small pieces. And that's why on Shabbat you have to be careful not to cut things that grow from the ground. Let's say meat, poultry, and fish, cheese, all that. There's no isur of tchina. There's no problem. You could cut those into tiny little pieces. But things that grow from the ground, like peppers and carrots and salads and bananas, you can't cut into very tiny pieces because that is a tolda of. Now, where does it get small? What is the exact measurement? Is actually very, very unclear in the Rishonim and Achreinim, and therefore they recommend in the halacha when it comes that anything that you considered quite small, don't do. So make sure your salad on Shabbat, if you like the Israeli salad, tiny pieces, you can't make Israeli salad on Shabbat.
Even alta?
What?
Even alta?
Yeah. Because Teichen has nothing to do with altar. The melacha that has to do with on the spot is borer, zore, dosh. Because when you sort something, yeah, altar is not. I don't think is a factor when it comes to teichen. By sorting, if you do something on the spot, so we don't look at it like part of the act of sorting. We look at it as if it's the act of eating. That's how it helps. But here, it's the malacha of teichen. Now meraked is to sift. The sifter. Okay. Seemingly all the last three that we mentioned, right? Zorer, Bore, and Meraked, they're all basically removing the bad and the good. The difference is basically the way that you do them. The winnowing is through the wind, the sorting is with your hand, and the sifting is with the sifter. Okay? But it's not so simple, this whole thing, because we're going to see later on that Bora could be with a vessel. Okay, let's continue. The halosh. Halosh is to knead. K-N-E-A-D. And the melacha, what you're actually doing is you're taking separate particles, and now through the act of water and mix and kneading, you're now making them one. And that is the melacha. We're going to talk about that Bezrat Hashem. The ha'ofeh. Oh, so now if you see it, this is the seder of how you harvest, make piles, you thresh it, you winnow it, you sort it out, you grind it, you sift it, you knead it, and you bake it. And baking includes cooking as well. Okay? Those are the first 11 melachot that are called the Seder Hafiyah, and those are the ways to get to the baking. They're one big group. Next group, Hagozezet Atzemer, someone who shears the sheep. Behamilabno, and if someone washes it in a river, Behaminaptso, someone who removes the stuff out of the fleece, you comb it out. Ve'atzovo, and you dye it. Ve'atoveh, you spin it. Ve'hameseich, meseich is setting the wool and the strings that you spun into the loom that you're going to weave it. Ve'ha'oseh b'shtei batei nirin, and this is already another part of that loom. You put in the shtei batei nirin. There's different parts of the Bezat Hashem will have to get a picture of this weaving machine. And there are two batei nirim. We're going to see what they are exactly. These ropes, and you set these ropes up. So you set the two strings through those ropes, and that will create the weave. That's another malacha. Ve'arek shtei chutin, and one who actually weaves two chutin. Ve'apotzeya shnei chutin. Potzeya means you get rid of the two extra strings over there to make it a fine weave. We'll get to that. Bezrat Hashem. Hakosher, one who ties, and one who unties. Ve'amatir ve'atofer shtei tefilot. If someone sews, how much sewing? 2 stitches. Hakorea al menat litpo shtei tefilot. Or someone who rips, but not ripping can't be just destructive, for the purpose of sewing. In that same spot, 2 stitches. 2 stitches is the shiur. Those are the next 13, and they are the seder of weaving. Then we have 7 melachot, which have to do with preparing the hides of the animals, and then 2 melachot that pertain to writing. Hatzad tzvi, one who traps a tzvi, a heart, H-A-R-T, a hart, or a deer. Hashochto, then he slaughters it. Ve'amafshito. All this to get to the heart, right? They're all melachot, but ve'amafshito, who skins it. Hamolcho.
What's the purpose of just saying tzvi, not like chaya or shema? Or something.
Oh, why does it say tzvi? Why does it say tzvi? I think it's just dibra kosev b'hoive, meaning no. That's normally what that was a good. Doesn't have to be a tzvi. I think so. Okay. In the Mishkan, it wasn't a tzvi; it was a tachash, right? They bring down. That's the most common. The Tosfos Yom Tov says, yeah. Trapping. There's so many, and every one of these is so many different details. But Bezat Hashem will go through them. Hamolcho down, you salt the hide. V'hame'abed es and you work the hides through different chemicals. V'hamemacheko. You smooth it out, and then you cut it out into measurements. That is the process of, with the animal, of making hides. Akotev shtei otiyot, if you write 2 letters, that's writing. The amochek, or one who erases, al menat tichtov, but not just erases. He erases for the purpose of writing shtei otiyot, 2 letters. And now, the last 6 melachot. Haboneh, building. Vasoter, destroying. Destroying is not constructive, so where is it constructive? And we know that the melachot have to be melechet machshavet, constructive. And the answer is, you destroy in a place that you want to rebuild. Amechabeh, one who extinguishes a fire. V'hamavir, one who kindles a fire. Makeh patish, someone who bangs with a hammer, which means he gives the last blow of an item that needs one last blow to smooth it out. Let's say you made a cup, but it needs one more. So basically, he completes the item. And the last one, amotzi mirishut rishut, which we started the masechet with. One who carries from one rishut to another. Harei elu avot melachot habeim chaser achat. These are 40 minus 1. Okay. Why do you have to say this number again over here? So the Gemara asked, Minyana Lamali, why do I need a number? We just did this Gemara. Because if you did all 39 in one shot, we tell you, there are 39 melachot. I could count them. No. The reason why I'm telling it to you is you should know you could bring 39 korbanot. If you do them all in one, we said the halacha, maybe it's only 38. Okay? Says the Gemara. Hazoreh v'achoresh. Hazoreh v'achoresh mechti. Michrav karvi bereisha. Everybody, michrav karev means choresh in Aramaic. What do you do first? The whole Mishnah is in order of the act. You don't sow and then plow. You plow. It should have said hachoresh first and then zoreah. So litni choresh v'adar litni zoreah. So the Gemara answers Tana be'Eretz Yisrael koi. This Tana of the Mishnah was in Eretz Yisrael. He was situated there. Therefore, in the Minhag in Eretz Yisrael is the zari bereish of hada karvi. First they sow and then they plow. Now, what does that mean? First they sow and then they plow? Of course, they had to plow in order to sow. But there was another plowing that was done after they put the seeds in the ground, because they couldn't use the plowed earth to just easily cover over the seeds, like in other places where the ground is very soft. In Eretz Yisrael, where the ground is hard, in order to have enough earth to cover over what you did, you had to re-plow again. And the Mishnah is telling you that the plowing that comes after the sowing, that's also called plowing, and you're chayav for that as well. Okay? Okay. Tona hazoreh v'hazomer v'hanotea v'hamavrich v'hamakiv kulam melacha achaten. If someone sows zra'im and he prunes, notea means similar to sowing, but it's not with a seed. You take a branch and you put it into the ground. That's notea, or not just a branch, not a branch, a little sapling. Mavrich is a branch. You take a branch and you put it into the ground, and it's called mavrich because you make it bend like a knee. You take it from one tree and you stick it into the ground. V'hamarkiv, you graft from one tree to the other. Kulan melacha achaten. They're all one melacha. All of them have the same purpose as zoreah. Their purpose is to make something grow. Okay? And therefore, they're one. So the Gemara says, "My kamash malon." What are you trying to tell me? What do you mean they're one? So hakamash malon, haostem melachot habe me'im melachat achat, eino chayev el achat. If you do many melachot and all of them are all related to the same, they're all toldot of the same melacha, you only have to bring one korban. As long as you didn't know they were asur, they're all even though one melacha and another fall under separate categories, like we learned. And you have to bring two separate korbanot, but all of these are one, and therefore you only bring one korban for these. Okay? Omer Rab Acha, Omer Rab Chia bar Ashi, Omer Rabbi Ami. Rab Acha said in the name of Rab Chia bar Ashi, in the name of Rabbi Ami, Zomer chayav mishum noteah. Zomer, pruning, you're chayav because of the melacha of noteah. Noteah is like the av melacha of planting. So therefore, if you pruned and you planted in one forgetting, you bring one chatat. Ve'anoteah, ve'amavrich, ve'amakiv chayav mishum zoreah. If someone planted a sapling, or someone who placed, I forgot what it's called, placing the branch into the ground, or grafted, that's zoreah. So therefore, if you did any of one of these three, together with zriyah, you have to bring one chayav chatat acha, only one, because it's all part of the same melacha. Since all these three are like zriyah, you only bring one. Okay? So the Gemara says, Mishum zoreah in, Mishum noteah lo. You're telling me that if you're mavrich or markiv, if you graft or you place the branch into the ground, you're chayev because of zoreah and not because of noteah? Ema af mishum zoreah.
Rabbi, so I have a question.
Yeah.
You were saying that if you sow and you plow, you only bring one?
No, not if you sow and plow. No, I wasn't talking about plowing now. I said that. If I said that, I made a mistake. I'm sorry. I don't think I said that. Sowing and plowing are two separate melachot. You're talking about at the beginning of the Gemara? The beginning of the Gemara?
Yeah. There's 73b1. The Tanna was on Eretz, so when they sow.
Oh, that's before. No, so that's no. It's two separate melachot. But what the chidush over there was that the plowing that took place after the sowing was also the melacha of plowing. It wasn't just some sort of act of that, because usually the plowing is done before the sowing. But here we have a plowing that's done after the sowing as well, and that's also included in the melacha of plowing, not in sowing. It's not one. Okay. So the Gemara says, why are you placing Mavrich and Markiv in Zoreya more than Noteya? So the Gemara answers, Eim af mishum Zoreya. So the Gemara says, no, just the opposite. Of course they're part of Noteya. The Chiddush of Rabbi Acha is that these three melachot are also part of Zoreya. So if you were Zoreya as well, then if you were Zoreya as well, you're going to bring one chatat. Okay, Amar Kahana Zomer v'tzarich le'etzim chayav shtayim achat mishum kotzeh ve'achat mishum noteah. If someone pruned a vine so it should grow better, but he also needed to harvest the vine. He wanted to cut the vine so he can use the wood. So now he's doing one act. He's cutting, and he's getting two things out of it. Ketzira, harvest. I want to take this home and use it for firewood. And I also doing this to prune my vine. So chayav shtayim. That one act, you can bring two chataot. If you did it by mistake, you forgot. Achat mishum kotzeh, achat mishum noteah. One for kotzeh, one for noteah. Noteah is planting, because pruning is a tolda of planting. You're making it grow. Amar Rav Yosef, Hayman de kotal aspasta. Someone who caught aspasta is this quick growing herb that they used for animal fodder. And it grew in 1 month. Then they would rip it out of the ground and plant a new crop right there. Again, aspasta. So, and actually, they would actually harvest it 3 times in 1 month. It grew very fast. Chayav shtayim, achad mishum kotzeh, achad mishum noteah. You're calling me here. Sorry. Akiva? Hello? Yeah, a few people are coming. B'ezrat Hashem. So go there now, okay? I should be coming very, very soon. B'ezrat Hashem. I'm in the middle of the share. I can't speak now. Sorry. Okay? I'm about to finish. Bye-bye. So the Gemara says,
there you go.
Okay, so you chayev 2. Why chayev 2? Achat mishum kotzer, ve'achat mishum noteah. Because why are you harvesting this? You're also harvesting it so you could throw the next aspasta in. So this is what helps you plant. So it's part of planting too. Plus you want the aspasta. Amar Rabbi, Hayman de koniv silka. Chayav shtayim. What's koniv silka? You cut off a piece of the silka. What's silka? The beets. What is it? Beets? The celery. The beets. Whatever it is. Which is so chayav shtayim. That's attached to the ground. You have to. It's 2. Achat mishum kotzeh, achat mishum noteah. Because when you rip it out, it helps the part that remains in the ground grow better. Some put noteah in, some have zoreah. There's an aleph. You see the little aleph there? Okay, Tana. ve'achoresh. Tana, achoresh ve'achofer ve'achoretz, kulam melacha achate. If someone plows, or he digs, or he, choretz means he makes like furrows, like little ditches, like scratches into the ground. He etches into the ground. That's all malacha, one malacha. They're all, the purpose is to soften the ground so that it'll be fertile ground to be able to sow. Therefore, only one chaya, one chatat. Amar Rav Sheshet, hayta lo gavshushit untala bebayit chayav mishum boneh. If someone had a little mound of earth and he took it on Shabbat, okay, if the mound was in his house and he's trying, so then why are you removing this little mound? You're removing the mound because you want your house to have a nice normal floor that should be flat without a mound. So anything that helps building up the house to make the house better, that's boneh, that's building. Imagine if you built your house and inside the house by the floor, a brand new home, there was still bumps of little pieces of, the little mounds of earth. You did not finish your home. And so the building of the home is completed by doing this. So that's building. But if you remove the mound of earth in the field, chayav mishum choresh, then what you're constructing is a whole different thing. What you're doing, what you're affecting is, you're not building there. What you're doing is you're softening the ground, so it's choresh. Amarava hitalo guma utmama. If, I have to go right after this Gemara, if someone had a hole and he stuffed it with earth, so it depends. If it was babayit chayav mishum boneh, that's again building the house. Basadeh mishum choresh, in the field, that's choresh because he's allowing you to plant over there, because since you're filling that hole with soft earth, you make it possible to plant over there, and therefore that is. See, that area was very hard earth. Now that you're putting all the soft earth in here, so you make it possible to plant, that is choresh. Amar Rabbi Abba, hachofer guma b'Shabbat. If someone digs a hole in his home on Shabbat, ve'eno tzarich ela la'afara, but he doesn't want the hole for the hole itself. He's just trying to get the earth out, because he wants to use the earth to cover something that wasn't clean over there. Patur aleh. Then digging, which normally is, we just said, is choresh, softening the ground and making the ground fertile for sowing. This is not boneh, and it's also not choresh. It's not because you're not planting there, and boneh it's not because you're ruining your home by making a hole in the ground. So, but you're going to say, wait. But I did the act of boneh, but it's not. You're patur because you're being mekalka, destructive. Now there are two reasons here. One reason is because the act that I'm doing, even even if it would be boneh, I'm not doing it for the purposes of boneh. I'm trying to do this act for the purpose of doing something else, getting the earth out. But even if you hold that when my intention here is to get something else out of the malacha, eina tzricha legufa, and if you hold that, and you hold that malacha she'eina tzricha legufa is chayav, that's Rabbi Yehuda's opinion. Here he would still admit that you're not chayav because what you're doing is destructive and not constructive. We'll talk about it a little more tomorrow. Chazak and Baruch, have a great day.